had a message for Justin Trudeau, let's pretend Justin Trudeau's listening right now, what would you say to him?
I say, Justin Trudeau, get out of office.
Sheila Gunn Reid for Rebel News, covering the Western Separatist rally Saturday morning at the Alberta Legislature. It is minus 20 degrees Celsius and lightly snowing here at the provincial capital. But this is not a weather report. I mentioned the weather because this is the first major outdoor rally of 2020 for the Wexit movement, and it's going to be a frosty one, people. Now, Wexit Canada, as the organized political arm of the Western Separatist movement under leader Peter Downing is now formally known, was just granted the ability to become an official federal party Friday by Elections Canada. What this means is Wexit Canada will become an official registered party once it runs a candidate in the election or any federal by-elections. And with Justin Trudeau's Liberals in the, I guess, somewhat precarious state of a minority government, the new Wexit party will have to move nearly immediately to a position of election readiness, identifying their candidates and fundraising. Now, I'm here in part to see if the Wexit movement is still picking up steam. However, I'm certain the weather today will put a damper on the attendance. This rally here comes in advance of the Conservative government in Alberta's Fair Deal panel being held in Lloydminster Monday night. According to the government website for the Fair Deal panel, these traveling town halls are designed to consult Albertans on strategies to secure a fair deal in the Canadian Federation and advance Alberta's vital economic interests. Will it do that? I'm not sure. I want to ask the folks here if there is anything that the Fair Deal panel could suggest that might make them change their mind and want Alberta to remain within Confederation. I also want to ask them if they have a message for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Well, it looks like the people here are just starting to gather up on the steps of the legislature. Let's head down there and check it out. And I've got to get moving anyways before I lose a toe. You're retired PPCLI?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Is there something that Jason Kenney could do or say in these Fair Deal panels that would change your mind, or are you just a committed separatist?
I've been a committed separatist for a long time, but I think Jason Kenney could help advocate or lean to us a bit by establishing a provincial Veterans Affairs Ministry and a provincial health inquiry on the use of methylquin in Canadian soldiers in Alberta.
Do you have a response to people who say, for example, that our military who do support the Wexit movement are some sort of traitors to the nation?
We serve the country to help uphold everyone's individual right to believe what they want. So I've fought for it, so I'm going to express it. If you don't like it, that's not my problem. That's something to do with you. Yeah.
If you had a message for Justin Trudeau, like let's pretend Justin Trudeau's listening, what would you say?
Sir, you got to start treating Canadians with a lot more dignity or respect and start looking after your own backyard before you try to make everyone else's look better than ours.
It's high time that the First Nations be put up on priority to fix the water quality and the housing quality on First Nations reserves so that our First Nations people can have a place to go home to have developed lands, to have services like we have here in Edmonton and in towns. It has to stop. We have got to say that we must prioritize First Nations communities and make them be a proud people, holding their head up high, saying, I contributed to the life of my family for the betterment of my community. That's what we must do.
Do you think those things are going to happen for First Nations people inside Canada, or is it time for First Nations to go their own way?
It's time for First Nations to separate from Canada, because separating from Canada would mean only something positive for First Nations. We would have a say in the governance of our people. We would have a say in the governance of our communities. We would have a say in the governance of our economy. because right now, as it stands, if we keep going in the status quo, we're never going to get the water quality and the housing quality on First Nations reserves addressed or fixed.
Now, if you had a message for Justin Trudeau, let's pretend Justin Trudeau's listening right now. What would you say to him?
I say, Justin Trudeau, get out of office. You're not representing the First Nations people. You're not even representing all of Canada.
Why did you come out to the rally today? It's minus 20.
Because I support Alberta and the people. We're all here. We're a community, and the federal government doesn't seem to notice it. So,
right now, Jason Kenney is holding the Fair Deal panels. Is there something that could come out of those Fair Deal panels that might change your mind?
we'll have to see. I came out here for a lot more information as well, right? Because, people need to know, right? So,
if you could say one thing to Justin Trudeau, what would it be?
I don't have any nice things to say to Trudeau, sorry.
Hi. Why did you come out to the rally today? It's minus 20.
Speak to her. Because it's the right thing to do. Canada is broken. I've waited 60 years and it's not going to get fixed. I'm not ready to wait anymore. My kids, my grandkids need better.
Do you think that something could come out of Jason Kenney's Fair Deal panels that might change your mind?
Even if it does, it won't make a consistent difference. No, it won't. We'll just fall back into and wait again and again and again. They've tried that before. It doesn't work.
If you could say one thing to Justin Trudeau, what would it be?
Go away. That's being very polite.
That's awfully nice.
I'm a polite person. I'm an Albertan.
Do you think there's something that Jason Kenney could do right now that could change your mind, or are you a committed separatist?
I am now a committed separatist for sure. I think it doesn't matter if it's Liberals or Conservatives in power, they still are not looking out for the West. I mean, Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, they are milking us for everything they can. And I don't think, even if, I do want more independence, and I hope something does come out of what Jason Kenney's doing, but I think what he's doing is laying the groundwork for what we want to accomplish anyways. And I don't know if he's going to take it far enough. We need to change everything, and to do that, it looks like separation is the only way. Nobody's listening to us, nobody cares. That's what we're going to have to do.
If you could say one thing to Justin Trudeau, like if you thought that he was listening, what would you say?
I wouldn't say it directly to Justin Trudeau. I think he's just a puppet. I would say to the Liberals, you could have an entire country that was prosperous.
I just want to say one thing, that I think this tax on heating your home in these conditions is unfair to Albertans' families. There's no scientific consensus. There's never been a scientific consensus. Science is not a democracy, and there's plenty of evidence that a carbon tax will do nothing to improve greenhouse gas emissions, and it's punishing Albertan families, and it's wrong. I have 3 kids. My thermostat's turned down all the way because we can barely afford to heat our home, and now this month I have to pay a carbon levy, I support ATCO gas and I support clean, natural gas from Alberta and our resources, but I will not be paying this carbon levy. So they can turn off my gas if they want, because I'm not paying it. And that's why I'm here.
I wanted to ask you, Jason Kenney is doing the Fair Deal panels. There's one on Monday night. Is there something that could come out of those Fair Deal panels that might change your mind about separatism?
Well, one thing is we really need to stop these equalization payments. If we weren't paying so much, we wouldn't have this spending problem that Alberta has. We have a spending problem now. We spend more on healthcare than almost any other province per person, and it's because we're subsidizing other provinces like Quebec that has a $5 billion surplus. Why should we be sending our money out east when we're so hurting? There's so many oil field workers who are unemployed, construction, good guys I work with every day. I had to lay off a guy before Christmas. His house had just burned down, and it was terrible. And that's just one of many stories. And we need to keep money in Alberta so that costs can go down. That's the main thing. We need to keep costs down for families.
If you could say one thing to Justin Trudeau, what would it be?
Scrap the carbon tax. 100%.
The rally behind me is just wrapping up. There were about 100 people in attendance, including a retired Canadian service veteran and an Indigenous woman from Cold Lake First Nation. Now, the mainstream media will paint these folks as, quote, swivel-eyed loons, as racist, ignorant, petty, entitled, and dismissive of their concerns about the unfair treatment of Alberta for generations. Much of the mainstream media has done these things from a comfortable perch in Toronto or Ottawa, demeaning the concerns of these folks without ever wading into a crowd, like I did, to speak with them. Now, whatever you think about the Western separatist movement, there's a reason why it exists and percolates to the surface every single time there's a Liberal in power in Ottawa. Western separatism is a reaction to this great province being treated as a colony instead of an equal partner in Confederation. And Western separatism is going to exist in one form or another until that problem is resolved, either Jason Kenney's way or the Wexit way. For Rebel News in Edmonton, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. I'm here in Edmonton reporting on the Wexit movement. If you like the job we do telling the other side of the story, be sure to like and share our stories or become a premium member. Just go to premium.rebelnews.com.